here at Done by Dorothy, and we are here for our 25 days of Christmas, and we're so excited. We're moving right along. We're on day 17. I know, 17 days, guys. It's so hard to believe we're here already. So let's get with it. These are the digitals we'll be using for today. This cute little picture. And then we have this double-sided picture over here that we're going to be using. And again, this is day 17. So, I'll show you what I've got for today. We've got this that we're going to create into this cute little, just a little flip for the top of a page. We have this tag with some sort of added little things that I've added. So we'll show you how to do that. Then we've got sort of our match case little journaling spot there. And of course there's our 17. So let's get with it. So we will start first with our easy little tuck here, and I'll show you what I did first. I've cut out my images. Of course I've got my big one. I'm going to go ahead and ink them up while I have them here. I have that, at least that much done, so I hope everybody's enjoying the series, and everybody's getting ready for Christmas. Things are starting to get busy. We all have less time to do things. So if you don't do that, if you're not following along with us this year, this would be great. Add to a playlist or whatever and start next year and be ahead for next year's Christmas. So I know we'll be doing next year's Christmas, but instead of waiting till December because things are chaotic, we'll probably do it in July for Christmas in July. And that way we'll have it ahead of time so everybody can get it done. And the two pieces that were together, I actually cut them apart, and I'm going to use them for two separate things. You could fold it in half and use, it as one image. I chose to cut them apart and use them, and as soon as I get this inked up, I'll show you a little something to think about too with these images. But let me get them inked up first. Okay. So with this image right here, of course, like I said, I just cut mine in half into two pieces. You could fold it in half and just, ink inside of it and just have, sort of, I don't know, just a journaling spot in between. Of course, you could add coffee and tea-dyed papers inside and make a booklet. When you go to cut it out, you could also cut it out, as the square, but add a ½ inch of like the white over here, and then score it here, score it along this edge, fold that ½ inch under, and glue it here, and then run a little bit of glue down on the bottom, on this, on the side, and you can create a pocket too. So there is different ways you can use that. And I tried to make it versatile so you could do different things with it. So, okay. We've got that done. So, what I did to create the little flip is I simply took my coffee tea-dyed paper, folded it in half. Well, let me just show you. Fold it in half and burnish, so you can then and I wasn't worried about it being super straight because you know me, I just do that. So once I get it divided into half, then I fold it in half again. So you're going to need 1/4 of a page. Then I tear it along there again. Okay. And then I just laid my image on. I'm just going to glue it down. And again, I mean, you wouldn't have to. You could, you know, glue this, you could glue it straight on a page with some cheesecloth and stuff behind it and just sort of have a cute little embellishment, or, you know, create a pocket out of it or a tuck. You know, because I could rip this off here and glue around these 3 corners and have a pocket if I wanted to even. So, I mean, there's tons of things that you could do with it. So then I'm just going to look here and I'm going to see I have about 1/4 inch here. Figure out where I'm at. Guesstimate about where my 1/4 inch is. And then I'm just going to burnish down. And I created a flip. That easy. Nothing to it. So I'm going to ink around my edges because, you know, we love inking around our edges. And I got my red Christmas sweater on again. It's actually like a jacket. But I tend to get so cold in the winter, so I was like having a sweater on. But anyway, I hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas and getting those last minute gifts done. I know we are. We started a tradition in my family when my kids were really small. And, you know, one of our things that we do every year is we exchange names. I have 4 kids. So there's 6 of us. And so we all put our names in a jar. We all pull a name on Christmas. Well, okay, like last Christmas, we pulled names. Christmas Day. So every Christmas we're like a year ahead. So like this Christmas we'll pull for next year. And everybody gets a name, and then we exchange gifts with that person. We still do all of our family Christmas. This is completely separate, but we exchange gifts and we make homemade gifts. And we started when my kids were really small, and it was hilarious because, you know, you get the coupon books of I'll be good and I'll listen, or, you know, I'll do my chores, or, you know, that type of stuff, or, you know, toilet paper tube castles, that type of stuff. And now, you know, my youngest, my baby, is 14, my oldest is 18, and, you know, they're adults, so they're getting closer to that adult age, so it's sort of fun to see as it's, you know, as they're going from that not so big gift thing to worrying about, you know, that they want something nice, they want something neat to give somebody. Okay, so we've got our flip done, so we can set that to the side. And I'm sorry for just ranting about my family. Okay, so we have that done. Then the 1/4 that you have left, keep it because we're going to use it again. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and divide the other half because we're going to need it. So if you have just a piece of coffee and tea dyed paper, it works for this today. Okay, so we have that. So let's move on to our larger, our little, well, sort of like a matchbook, I guess is what you would call it. Okay, and you're going to need, this is an 8.5 by 11 page, and it's just cut in half. So it's 4 1/4 by 11. So you're just going to cut your page in half. So I mean, technically, if you made 2, if you copied out 2 of these, you know, you can make 2 of them at a time. So, okay. And then let me double check to make sure I have my measurements right. Yes. So I do a 3/4 fold for my lip. The little hangover part, I did 3/4. So, you know what, let's just pull out the scoreboard and make it easier for everybody. So I'm going to lay it up by the 11, on the 11-inch side. Let me make sure you can see. Yeah, you can. So I need 3/4. And then let me double check. Okay, so we need to do it at 3/4, and we need to do it at 6. So 3/4 and at 6. And then we're just going to fold and crease. Make sure you even it up really good. And then I run ink around here just a little bit. It doesn't make a big difference, but it does make a little bit of a difference. Sort of add that little bit of a darker edge on the outside. I mean, technically you could use a darker color. You could use your black if you wanted. Or you could use red or green if you wanted. And I'm not going to be extremely particular about this because it is in fact craft, so you're not going to see it a whole lot. I'm just going to sort of do it along the edges where I cut, you know, just the outside edges. I'm not even going to worry about the inside. Yeah, I will, because if I don't do that, then I'll know it's not done, and I'll think about it and go, I should have done that after it's all together. So we'll just run across it real fast. So I hope everybody is doing okay with the weather. I don't, know where everybody's from that's watching. I know some people have really good weather right now. We have freezing rain and snow and sleet and all of that nastiness of winter. I know Australia's got the fires going on, which is amazing. You'd think that, the weather over there is like that, and over here we have all this rain and stuff. Makes you wish it could just sort of even out and balance out, but okay. So there we go. So we're going to pull out our little quarter papers, and these are going to they're going to fit exactly. So we're going to need to trim them down just a little bit. So I'm just going to tear off about, probably about 3/4 of an inch, maybe, not quite, maybe about a 1/2 inch. And then I need to trim some off the sides. So again, I'm just going to take about a 1/2 inch off, just enough to get it to fit in there, but to leave me lots of journaling space, because you can never have enough journaling space. And you guys are going to hear the train again. I'm sorry. Told you, we're at the hub here, even in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so I have that, and then I'm going to ink up around my edges, because that's me. You don't have to do that. You don't have to ink up. That's just, I like the look. I think it adds a little bit more dimension to the project, to the paper when you add it. Guys, it's just so hard for me to believe that we're on day 17. So 8 more days left. 1 more week of being together for our Christmas. And somebody told me, well, I don't know what I'm going to do when, that's not up every day, because I've come to be, I've, gotten used to doing it every day, and that's going to be gone. What's next? So we do have some stuff coming up in the new year. Well, and we've got more than 8 days. We actually probably have about 9 or probably 9 to 10 videos left. We got to do the cover, and that'll add a little to it. I'm going to show you how I do my covers. It doesn't have to necessarily be, the way that you do yours. I love how some of these papers just came out really, really crazy colored. And I did them. And I gotta get ready to do that too. I gotta tea dye some paper. This project is used quite a bit. Okay. to have that, and you can, you know, lay it whatever way you want. And then you're just going to gather your papers together, push them up and center them in the top. And then I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Ideology Tiny Attacher, and I'm going to go down just about 1/8 of an inch in the center and put a staple in. That's it. Right like that. Right about there. Now, I did mine with the bar on the inside, the little prongs on the outside, because my picture, my image that I'm going to put on there, I can use to cover the staples on the outside. And then that just tucks up in there like that. And there's, you created your matchbook. So, let's glue our image on. And again, I'm gluing my image straight on, and then how I actually wanted to. Let me double check how oh no, I did that on top. That's what I thought. Okay. And then you just have to decide which direction you want yours to be. I want mine like this, because you can do it either way. And then you're just going to sort of center your image up where you want it to be centered. And again, that's going to cover that staple at the end. And then I'm going to grab a piece of my green sort of velour, velveteen. Cut it on the diagonal ends. And then I'm going to go where I put my staple in at the top. And I'm going to fold it over. And then I'm going to staple right above where my other staple was and just create sort of a decorative pull on there. So you just have a little bit of a decoration on there. Just make sure, like when you do, that you don't catch this in here. So if you stay to that 1/8 of an inch at the top, you're not going to catch this, because I've got this a little bit cut a little bit shorter to make up for that. So there's that. So that's piece 2. And open it up, and this one actually has 3 pages. You can put as many pages as you want. Another alternative, if you want, let me see how another alternative is you can actually, you know, make your pages long. You would have to cut your pages, let's see, 8.5 by 11 by, I would say, you would need to take about 1.25 inches off or so. You'd have to play with it to see the length. I would use this and see. You would have to take, I would take off, at least if it was me, I would probably take off, let me estimate here. Okay. Well, if you wanted to make it even, I would take off about 1.5 inches. So you could take it off in 1.5 inches. Let me see if I have any long. Okay, anyway, you could take 1.5 inches off. You could fold your pages this way. So you would do, let's see, it would be, you would do it 9.5 in a length, 4.5 wide. And that would give you a page that you could actually sew into here to create a booklet, you know, where you had pages, you know, a book, if you wanted to do it that way. And then you could just slide it in there as the cover. So, again, if you wanted to do that, you'd have to do 9.5 by 4.25. So, there's that for that. So, we've got that finished. Let me put this up here. Okay, so let me pull out my page here, and I'm going to grab my gesso brush again, Uh-oh, we're gonna gesso. Well, we're actually not gonna gesso. We're gonna Mod Podge. Sorry. I call this my gesso brush because I use it for gesso and Mod Podge. So let's just. And you're gonna need your Mod Podge again. We have our DIY Mod Podge, so it's super cheap. So you don't have to worry about using it as often. Okay, and then we're gonna use the image that has the print on it. We're gonna turn it face down, so you have the white side up. And we're going to cover it with Mod Podge. Make sure it's covered, you know, I mean, you don't want it dripping wet, but you need to make sure that you have a nice coat. And you don't want, like, puddles of it, because it will tear through our napkin we're going to put on there, but you need to make sure it's covered, though. Okay, and then I've got this pretty poinsettia napkin over here that I want to use. So... and then line it up the best that I can. That would never happen again. I'm going to sort of smooth it down. And then if you want to keep your snippets so you know you have it, you can use for other stuff, you can come in and trim that up if you want. Then you can get some more Mod Podge. And I put a nice thick coat on it. And actually, if you're doing this, if you're smart, which I wasn't, but hey, if you do this first, as your first step when you're creating today, and then set this to the side, by the time you get everything else done, this will be dried and ready to go. So I keep you from having that waiting period to get it done. Okay, I'm going to pause you guys, and that's all we need to do with that, so you can put your Mod Podge up. I'm going to pause you guys long enough to hit this with the dryer. Well, hold on, I'll just, let me grab my dryer. Hold on a second. I was drying earlier, so I put it, so I'm going to dry this real fast, and it doesn't take very long at all. So I'll just take you guys along so you can sort of see. And I just keep it moving, constant, so you don't get any bubbling. If you keep it and hold it in one spot, you will get bubbling if you apply too much heat. This is a heat it craft tool, a really old one, but because I've had it forever and it hasn't broke yet, so I haven't had to buy a new one yet. But as long as you keep moving, you're not going to get a lot of that bubbling. You're going to get bubbling when you hold it in one spot for too long. And I mean, sometimes the bubbling stuff looks really cool. But there's other times, you know, that's just not what you want. And it doesn't take very long. Just a little bit with at least. You can use a hairdryer too. Again, just don't get it too close. I keep mine a good 3 or 4 inches away. And just keep it moving. I don't keep it in one constant place. And I don't push right down on top of it. I don't mind a few of the wrinkles and stuff like that, but I don't, there's certain times I like the bubbles. I just don't want the bubbles today. And that's it. So give me a second, let me switch this out. Okay. So we're back. See where I glued it to my page. Which is why it's a good idea to keep that little bit of extra, because you will pull up on the edge, and if you do, you can fix it. Ink covers a multitude of sins. And then I'm just going to go through and trim it up on the edges. So Then I'm going to grab my ink. And I'm going to ink it up real fast along the edges. And again, your ink will cover a multitude of sins, so, you know, if you happen to tear a little bit, like there was just a little bit that came off, that ink will cover that right up. Okay. So we have that. So that's going to be our tag. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to cut our corners. Actually, you want to do that before you ink, but I always do everything backwards like that, so. I think it's because I love the way things look after you ink it, so I get all excited about inking. It's, I don't know, some weird fascination with the way things look after you ink it. Okay. So we have that. Now, I'm going to show you something real fast. I found these. Remember, we used these, and these came from Prima years and years and years ago. But I want to use it. But do you notice how, like, these are sort of really dark? This is really dark. And this is almost sort of an orange, where this is more of a maroon. So I want to darken that up some. So, do you see the difference? So first off, I want to do the sewing around my edges. So, I'm going to grab my ruler. And again, I'm just going to lay it on the side. I'm not even going to mark my lines this time, because once you've done this once, you sort of get the hang of it. And then I just dash along my ruler. And it doesn't have to be exact. I don't worry about it being exact, because, you know, if you sew, you know, it's just not exact. And we're going to do another step here in a minute that'll cover up if you have any, like, mess ups or whatever. So there's no stress about it, just nice and easy. There we go. And you'll see some of it I did over it. It'll be covered. Okay, so I want to sort of bring this, I want to darken this up some so it'll blend in better. So we have a store called Five Below. You can get these at Michael's, not this brand, but a different brand. But they're watercolor brush pens, is all they are. And it comes with like an aqua brush, you know, so you can water it down. I'm actually just going to use the red and the black today, because I'm not worried about the green. So I'm going to go through, and all of my red, I'm just going to hit with it, and it's just going to darken it up a little bit. And it doesn't have to be exact. Again, this is just, I just want to create the illusion that it's a darker. So I'm just literally going to go in and just throw it on there. So anything that's red, if you want it dark, like these little berries, so I'll darken them up. And I'm going to go up here, sort of in the middle of these, just sort of add a little color. And it doesn't have to be exact, it doesn't have to actually follow along, just the best you can. You know, if it's a thinner line, do a small amount. If it's thicker, then, you know, do a little more. That's it for the red. Then we're going to grab the black, and we're just going to outline, which is going to make everything pop. So we'll just go ahead and start up here at the top, I guess. And I'm just going to outline everything, sort of bring it to the forefront. And I mean, I'm going to outline the green too. And this just adds some more depth to it. It sort of actually gives you like a faux watercolor look. So it looks like you've spent all this time watercoloring the design. When in fact, you've just Mod Podged a napkin on. So I go through in any of the darker part, just sort of add some color to it. Just create that faux look. To see how much different it looks now versus what it looked before. Now if you like just the straight, you know, like when we Mod Podge it on, then feel free to keep that. I personally sort of like it with the watercolor look. And it depends on, you know, the type, you know, the area that you brought from, because like this one was a little bit less. So, okay. Let me turn it over. I'm just sort of burnishing it down, flattening it out. Okay, so we're going to come up and poke a hole for our ribbon. And throw our hole reinforcers on. That's done. Oh, I needed to hit this side over here. I'm going to cut the corners on the back side. Okay, let me get these brush pens out of the way. So yeah, so I mean, you know, that just did a, and I mean, there's orange, yellow, blue, green, black, red, pink, and you know, you can lessen them so it's not such a strong color if you want it lighter, or you know, you can darken it. You can buy them in all kinds of colors. You can use the alcohol pens, they'll do the same thing. Okay, and again, we're gonna throw our ribbon through the back. Okay, so I want to use in the corner down here, I want to offset this some. So I'm going to grab some little piece of cheesecloth, because we love cheesecloth, right? So we'll throw that down, and we want a little piece of our doily. You guys, I've just about killed it. Packed it away. Do you think I'll make it? 8 more days. I don't know if I'll make it or not. Okay, we'll put that there. And then I want to make sure that I use my pinzetta. And again, once I get all this glued on and all that and everything, I'll put this under a book. And it's just where it's, you know, we've put the Mod Podge on it, which makes it curl. Then we put the watercolor brushes on, which obviously have a water base. So it's just cover a spot for a cheesecloth. Put it on there. And put our doily on there. Excuse me. Then our little poinsettia. So that's it. Put all my lids back on everything. Well, maybe. Okay. So we have our match booklet, our flip, and our tag. So let me move all of my stuff out that I was using. Pull our page out. So let's add our flip. I actually think I'm going to turn this into a flip and a tuck, not just the flip. We're going to create a tuck out of it too. And then we'll stick our tag in there that we just made. So we're going to ink around our edges. Let's put it right about here. Okay, so we have our matchbook. Will it fit? Nope, it'll hang over there. We'll put it, I want to put it in the big envelope we did. Excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and use my other one in here that we made. And tuck it right down in there. Or we can move it around if you want. Let's see. I'm going to put it there. Let's see. What could we put in there? Let's pull the rest of our book over. So we move stuff around. We got a ton of stuff in here now, so if we choose to move something around, let's back there because it has a little bit more give and space. There we go. And that will slide right down in there. So there we go. There's that. Then we're going to find our big envelope because I think this will fit. No, maybe not. It might be just a hair big to it for it. Nope. There you go. A filler for our big envelope. So we've got it all in there, and that is it for today. So that is day 17. We are slowly moving right along. Let me grab my other one out and put the other ones in. So we'll be back tomorrow with day 18 of 25. You know, all the links will be below that we need, or that you need. Facebook group, all of that kind of stuff. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. You guys know all that stuff. Make sure you come on over to the Facebook group where there's freebies that you don't get on the YouTube too. There's different stuff over there. So you will get additional stuff in there, as well as activities and things that go on in there. Let's see, what is it? How did I want to do this one? Let's just switch this out just like we did the other one. That will settle down a little bit. Our matchbook in here. And come back here and drop that in there. Let's see. Let's put this one back on here. So we are getting all of it put in here. And we will be doing the giveaway for it before Christmas. So both of those going. Again, tune in tomorrow for day 18. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.